everyone and welcome. This video is an overview on schema validation that we've created now that it's in open beta and ready for you to use. So let's take a look. First, let's talk about why we created schema validation. The main reason is that data migration is something that almost every engineering team has to go through when they work on digital products that evolve over time. But data migration is notoriously hard to do. It requires weeks of planning and synchronization between people and teams, and quite frankly, no one really wants to do this kind of work. Data migration becomes even more difficult for multiplayer apps, which create a Figma-like experience where anyone can manipulate a document's data in real time, even when users are offline. And while our long-term goal here is to make data migration as easy as possible to do without having to worry about the heavy back-end work, we're excited to show you the first steps we're taking to make this easier for you today. The first thing that we've done is created a schema language that feels familiar to TypeScript. It's currently open source, and we'd be happy for you to contribute and leave feedback on it. We also have REST APIs, which define and enforce schemas for any LiveBlocks room storage. And lastly, we've created a UI to manage schemas right from the dashboard. This is a great way to test out adding a schema to your existing room structure. And then once you've developed this small piece of a schema, you can start using it programmatically with our API endpoints. Now let's take a look at how this all works. We're going to use the Next.js whiteboard example built with React and LiveBlocks, where users can add and delete rectangles and also undo and redo their changes. To inspect a room's storage data, we use LiveBlocks DevTools. It's super handy for building multiplayer apps like this, and they're available in Chrome, Firefox, and Edge. You can see that the storage is primarily a live map of shapes, and each shape is a live object with 3 properties, X, Y, and fill. Using these conflict-free data types enables multiple people to edit the same data at the same time, even when they go offline for a little while. What's nice about LiveBlocks is that the room can easily be configured and fully typed on the client with a LiveBlocks config file. The current problem, though, is that the client's data mutations aren't validated at the server. This means that somebody could theoretically add any kind of data that they want to LiveBlocks servers and potentially break the document for other people. This is the problem that schema validation solves. It allows you to validate and reject storage mutations on the server, which enforces data integrity for your application's data at scale. All of this can be done with our REST APIs, but for the purpose of this demo, let's look at how we can do this in the dashboard. The first thing we'll do is create our schema. Because our schema language is inspired by TypeScript, you can usually just copy and paste what you already have in our LiveBlocks config file. So let's go ahead and do just that. And our schema syntax is a little bit specific in how it wants you to specify live objects. So we'll go ahead and replace that live object portion right here. And then we can go ahead and save that schema. Once your schema is created, you can enforce schema validation on rooms like this, which essentially activates runtime validation. To do this, you'll go to your rooms and select the room you want the schema to be enforced on and attach it. That's it. That's all we have to do in order to attach a schema. Now, if we go back to our example's code and modify it so that a rectangle has no X or Y coordinates on it when it's inserted, let's see what happens. Schema validation was enforced and generated an unhandled runtime error. This means that the server rejected the change because X and Y are undefined. That's what schema validation enables you to do. It's pretty cool, right? To summarize, this is really just the beginning. There is so much more that we want to do with schemas to enable you to build robust applications that evolve over time. Ultimately, our goal is to make data migration as straightforward as it can be to help save you and your team weeks of tedious work. In order to do so, we'd love your feedback as we keep building out schema validation to make sure that it elegantly solves the problem for you. To participate and try out the open beta, please reach out to us on Twitter or via email, support@liveblocks.io, or in our Discord community, and we'll make sure to enable schema validation for your account. And until next time, stay tuned.